Hello everyone, it is so good to see you. So I, like everybody else on the GVG team, have played the Star Fox demo numerous times now. We've all had ample time to play through it, and if you're here, I'm assuming you've played it too. Everyone's been giving their impressions, which I'm sure you've heard plenty of and possibly agree with. Game looks great, it sounds great, Medio is an excellent stage to showcase the differences from the original Star Fox 64 and the new one. We've got a video on that comparison. But something I've seen glazed over a lot is with the voice acting. Mostly about how it doesn't sound right. It doesn't feel or evoke the same energy that some of us are so very used to from the Star Fox 64 original. Now, this is going to be very train of thought and all over the place. The game comes out in like a week, so I can't be scripting all of this right now. But speaking of scripts, I've got words about the performance in the new Star Fox. It's amazing. It's excellent. We've only seen a handful of clips and now the entirety of Medio, and I can say that this is going to be a remarkable interpretation of the original. I know I've had my share of sarcasm on the channel, but I do mean that wholeheartedly. And you might think to yourself, but Daniel, they sound so dull and boring, where's the fun and cheesy lines that I'm used to? At least if you're around my age, you might think that, because new players aren't going to have a frame of reference. No, I think what they're going for is very important for the team to do, and I'm glad they're doing it like this. Because we're not trying to emulate the voice performances of the Star Fox 64 that you and I most likely played. They're trying to capture the tone and mood established in Star Fox 64's Japanese performance. Have you ever looked up how this game sounds in Japanese? It looks exactly the same, but it does have a different tone, which you can tell just by listening to their manner of speaking. Take a moment to compare these opening lines by General Pepper.
We need your help, Star Fox. Andross has declared war. He's invaded the Lilat system and is trying to take over Corneria. Our army alone can't do the job. Hurry, Star Fox!
急いでくれ。スターフォックスの将軍、アンドルフが宣戦布告してきた。奴らはこの惑星、コーネリアを支配し、ライラット系すべてを我が物にしようとしている。我が軍だけではどうにもならん。急いでくれ、スターフォックス。
So, carefully listening to the English version, his tone is like, "We need your help, Star Fox. Andross has declared war. He's invaded the Lilat system," and I'm just intentionally exaggerating the pitch because it goes up and down quite a bit. But when you listen to the same intro in Japanese, he has a very serious, stoic energy to him, like a general who is alerted but is remaining calm and professional. If you were to play this game in Japanese, you would get a very different feel for a lot of the characters, Star Fox included. Like Fox himself sounds a lot more anime protagonist than I ever expected to hear. Some of the others have a unique interpretation as well. Falco is still calm and cool, but Peppy sounds like he's projecting a lot more, and Slippy has an even younger sounding voice. Something that is closely retained from the original is the narration of the intro. Both are fairly serious, but I think the context of telling a story of Andross and James McCloud's fate warrants a more serious tone to begin with.
Corneria, fourth planet of the Lilat system. The evil Andross turned this once thriving system into a wasteland of near extinction.
ライラット系第4惑星コーネリア。かつては宇宙平和のリーダー的存在だったこの星も、ドクター・アンドルフの恐ろしい発明により絶滅の危機にさらされた。
I do think it's funny that at the very end, English ends it off with a fairly similar serious tone, but now it's the Japanese narration that gets more excited and hopeful, speaking as though Team Star Fox is coming to the rescue.
General Pepper has turned to a new Star Fox team, headed by Fox McCloud, to save Corneria and free the Lilat system once again.
ジェームズの息子、フォックス・マクラウド率いる新生スターフォックスだ。
In Japan, the game was approached from the angle that this is a serious space drama, where characters have died, and will die, in Star Fox's march to Venom to prevent the evil Andross from terrorizing the galaxy of Lilat. This is all despite the fact that they're anthropomorphic animals. That's part of the charm of the series, taking these serious scenarios and telling it through these silly creatures. I think that's partially where the voice direction of the English localization came from. I can't claim to know exactly what went on when these voice actors were performing their roles. There are some interviews with Mike West, the original voice of Fox, out there. He was called in after performing some lines because they liked him. He sat in a booth with Nintendo execs on the other side of the glass and performed. I imagine, seeing the cast of characters, they felt it was fitting to approach it with more of a Saturday morning cartoon angle.
Things are starting to heat up.
Quit dinking around, Slip. We're heading into the asteroids.
面白くなってきた。ワクワクするな。
こら、ピッピー、調子に乗るな。前期、隕石群に突入するぞ。
Who knows what we'll find out here?
Don't lose your focus, Slippy. Keep it tight. We're entering the asteroid field.
We have the entirety of Medio to play thanks to the demo, and yeah, some lines are just no longer the same. No more references to pop culture anymore.
It's quiet. Too quiet. Be careful, it's a trap!
やけに静かだ。気をつけろ、罠だ。
My whiskers are twitching. Something's wrong. It's a trap. Take him down.
I think the little references were harmless and got the message across, but we're kinda keeping it all within this universe now. Something I do appreciate is that there was a bit more faithful reference to the lore. Peppy starts the stage off by saying in Japanese, "Don't damage that precious machine." This line is more aware that the R-Wings in this title are experimental and that General Pepper entrusted the team with them. It's not really theirs at this point. In English, he's just telling you not to mess up that R-Wing. Though it does seem like Peppy leans more towards the English translation by telling you not to ding the machine up. Maybe the origin of the R-Wing will finally have cleared up? Star Fox tends to change where the R-Wings came from, but seeing how this game has been very closely following the lore of the universe, this dialogue makes me wonder if that's now going to be established more concretely now. This stage is also where I realized how Rob 64's voice changed quite drastically. Instead of clearly being a robot, he now sounds more like a young male. That should be strange, right? Why would they do that? Well, this is also a very clear example that we're leaning more towards the Japanese translation. Listen to all three and tell me what you think.
Location confirmed. Sending supplies.
一応確認しました。補給パーツを送ります。
Location confirmed. Sending supplies.
That is close to how he was meant to sound. But I feel as though when this game was going through its localization, maybe they thought having Rob sound young would be too strange. Western robots tend to have deeper metallic voices, especially in popular media during that time, like Transformers for example. They may have just opted for something that sounded clearly more robotic and distinct. This stage's boss also has a very calm and somewhat unnerving tone to his voice.
I've underestimated you. How about this?
あなた方を見くびっていたようですな。では、これならどうです？
I underestimated you. Let's see you outmaneuver this.
This feels like an example of them staying more in line with the English version, because they even capture his death quote pretty accurately to the original take.
I can't believe I lost to this scum! Sorry to jet, but I'm in a hurry.
貴様ごときにこの私が！悪いな、先を急いでるんだ。
I can't believe I lost to this scum! Sorry to Jet, but we've got places to be.
And I know the following line with Fox has changed, and it might seem less flavorful now, but listen, sorry to Jet, but I'm in a hurry is a line from Sonic the Hedgehog. He even says it with the same Sonic sauce in his tone a bit, before him talking was even a regular thing. Well, luckily for fans, it's remained mostly the same. I say take what you can get. There's more lines added here and there to the new game as well. Slippy will chime in and nerd out about persistent laser tech, where he didn't really have anything to say before. Falco complains to Pepe after telling you to boost or brake to make up his mind. There's subtle changes and additions that I feel are for the better. They're not overloading you with lines, just sprinkling in enough to add more to each character's personalities. And this is all while staying mostly true to the Japanese performance. Not necessarily their lines, their vocal direction and inflections specifically. One of the last voice lines we hear in the game is during the credits, when General Pepper is addressing Star Fox.
Star Fox, we are in your debt. I would be honored to have you as part of the Cornerian...
Oh no, sir. We prefer doing things our own way.
Fox just interrupts him before he could finish. I feel most people presume that it's just one of his character traits, turning down the offer before he could finish. But how does it sound in Japanese?
スターホックス、よくやってくれた。君たちさえ良ければ、我が軍に入って一緒に。
いえ、我々にはこの方が性に合っていますから。
Fox does let him finish before he could continue. This feels like one of those situations where the translation wasn't keeping pace with the scene, and so it sounds like voice lines were overlapping with each other, or interrupting each other. This is one of the only instances where this happens in the game. They needed to fit lines of differing lengths in a way that makes the dialogue still feel natural. A line by Falco in Japanese that was read in 5 seconds now needs to be spoken in 2 or 3 just to get the feeling across, for example. Some of the dialogue is compromised because of this, further deviating from the original script that the game was meant to portray. This happens a lot with anything getting translated to another language, even today. Anime and cutscenes with very strict timing need to adhere to the original feeling to some extent, or else it gets entirely lost and might sound unnatural. Localization is a complicated thing, and it goes beyond just simply translate this to English. For the time, the voice work done in Star Fox 64 was leagues over its contemporaries. This was a game that was all packed into a little N64 cartridge after all. Accomplishing what they did with the technology at the time is super impressive. It's gonna be very interesting to see how the rest of Star Wolf's lines are handled.
Can't let you do that, Star Fox. Andros has ordered us to take you down.
Peppy, long time no see.
Andros's enemy is my enemy.
そうはさせるか、スターボックス。
アンドルフ様がお前らを倒せとさ。
久しぶりやな、ベイビー。アンドルフ様の敵は私の敵だ。覚悟しろ。
Pigma is a standout in both original titles. The performance went for a more comedic animated pig voice.
My beautiful reward!
Now, they've given him the voice of a proper gang member. Having seen the prologue with James, you're kind of meant to take him more seriously now than before. In Japanese, instead of wolves, you'll be seeing your dad soon, Fox, it's originally worded as your father's waiting for you in hell. I mean, lines like daddy screamed real good before he died are pretty horrible to say, but I know Nintendo wouldn't want to put the word hell in their kids' games about animals in space. Even before entering Solar, General Pepper says that it's a burning hell. There's a bit more swearing, I say in quotations, than anything we've ever got translated over here. The script isn't swearing up a storm in Japanese or anything, but I would be pleasantly surprised if they leaned a little more in that direction for the English release. There's an interesting change in dialogue with Falco and Corneria. When Fox is asking to check the G-diffuser systems, we all know Falco says that he's fine. It just ends there and we move on to the others. But in Japanese, he responds with, "This is Falco, it's a little off, but it's okay." This here foreshadows a problem that he has with the G-diffuser later in the stage. We lost that little bit of context in English. Now, in the new game, we see that Falco kinda just hand waves checking his G-diffuser. He didn't fully check it, which now better explains the problems he has later in the same stage for the English-speaking audiences. This is just one tiny alteration to the script that helps to bring it back more in line with the original storytelling. And not only that, they took the opportunity to flesh out more of Falco's character by showing he's more interested in getting the mission started than checking all the boring system operations. See, they are quite literally killing two freas of birds with one stone. There are several changes to the script both in English and Japanese, but it really feels like they're trying to inject as much of that core character personality into everyone as possible, as I already said earlier. And I think that's what feels so good about it. The team is realizing the original intention behind the script and trying to tell a more serious story. Is it better this way? No, not in every aspect I've seen so far. Some of us have grown up listening to that corny dialogue of Star Fox 64 to the point where it's ingrained in our minds. It's strange and different to hear another take. But I'm very glad that we didn't try and force the cast to replicate the English version's takes, because we already did that with Star Fox 64 3D. Mike West recalls that for the most part, they wanted the cast to recite the lines closely to the original unless told otherwise, like for some slight dialogue changes. And I don't remember anyone quoting that game in particular. One of the lines that I do remember is one that was changed and everybody got mad about it. Instead of, "Hey Einstein, I'm on your side," it's now, "Hey genius, I'm on your side." We don't need a third version of this game being campy and silly. Those are always going to be there. They are untouchable. I'm so glad that we're having a new take of this story and that the voice direction is shifting to accommodate that as well. It's seeing somebody's artistic vision being fully realized after so many years. And you still might not like it. That's fine. I just want people to be aware that some of your favorite lines are not going to be in this new retelling of Star Fox 64. You people want cocky little freaks from this guy. Well, I say I hope he screams bloody murder like he did in the Japanese take. This is all just something I wanted to point out for those who might not be familiar with the Japanese voiceover for Star Fox 64. If you happen to have the opportunity to download the NSO application in Japanese, I recommend giving that game a shot and seeing for yourself. You might see this space drama in a completely new light. I think it sounds wonderful so far. This is something that's going to make it truly stand out from the original, because seeing how serious the game is taking itself, I can't imagine the lines from the original all fitting organically with this tone. I am sure there's going to be some lines that say the same for the fans, while others we're just going to have to bid farewell to. Again, the original will always be there. Thank you so much for watching. If you played the demo, what do you think so far? Let me know if you think this is going to absolutely ruin your experience. It won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna avoid watching people do playthroughs of this game. Because if I listen to people approve or disapprove of every little change or voice line while they play, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna hide from society and play this in darkness, as intended. Take care of yourselves, everyone, till we meet again.